I thank you for accepting my invitation and accepting to be on my show.
So you're very welcome. I love your concept. I think it's a great idea to talk to people. We need to get more influences, more input, because we get locked up in our small little worlds. So I think you're doing a great job, and I wish you the best with it.
So I thought to introduce you to my audience.
That's good. Yeah.
So
Hello, audience.
Can you please introduce yourself?
Yeah, my name is Paul Cullen. I'm an independent virtual reality developer. I set up a company last year in 2019 called SkyWatcherVR. And in December of 2019, we released our first application. And it's a completely virtual recording studio called Instrument Studio VR. And in that app, you can play drums, keyboards, guitars, bass, samplers, all sorts of instruments. We've also got a recording desk in it. So you can make a record from start to finish with just a virtual reality headset. So all the thousands of pounds that you need normally to make a record in all the studio, we've now brought that into just a virtual reality headset. So we're only at the start of the journey. And I came into development not the usual way, so I can talk a wee bit more about that if you like. Most people go to college and join a company, but I did it a bit differently. My background is in music, so I worked as a musician for many years in the north of Ireland. So I was born in Belfast in Northern Ireland and grew up in a town called Downpatrick, also in Northern Ireland. And about 15 years ago, I moved to the south of Ireland. So now I'm in County Leitrim. So I'm getting the best of both worlds. So I'm creating high tech in the middle of nowhere. We are the least inhabited county in Ireland. Leitrim, County Leitrim's the least inhabited. It's just sheep and cows and a few people. So it means you can produce high tech applications. You don't need to be in cities anymore. You don't need to be in California or San Francisco or high-tech places. You can do it anywhere, providing the internet holds up and the Wi-Fi doesn't go down, but we're all well used to that. So that's really where I came from. I took up virtual reality. To me, came as a hobby. So for me, from my background, I played music for a number of years. Along the way, I started getting very fond of drinking, and I became a complete full-blown alcoholic. And I actually went into residential treatment, and I had to get treatment to make myself better. And I had a few goes at that, and eventually I did. Over 15 years now, I'm sober. So in that time, to reward myself for being 10 years sober, I bought myself a virtual reality headset. It would have been, this one here is a newer one called an Oculus Rift. This is what we developed the app for. And I bought one of the earlier headsets called a DK2. It was an early development kit from Oculus. And I bought that for myself as a present for being sober for 10 years. It was just a present, a little reward for myself. And this became my new hobby, if you know what I mean. So initially it was just, I was blown away by the possibilities of virtual reality. It's just outstanding. For education, medicine, training, games, everything. It's just opened up so much. So by accident, I started making an avatar for an early version of VR Chat. You may have heard of that. It's one of the big social places. So this is the very early days of VR Chat before it had gone public. And I decided I'd like to make a custom avatar. And the only way you could do that was to download Unity and make a couple of changes to put your eyeballs in so you could make it work in VR Chat. So by accident I went in and started playing with this, and then I started to get curious. Once I had Unity installed, I started to get curious. How does this work? So I started looking at a few YouTube guides and a few web forums, and just to see how it worked, to see if I could maybe make a small application myself. And maybe about a month later, I actually had a working drum kit that was using. Yeah, I'd actually got the Oculus CV1, the first headset then. So I got tore in, and this just took over. So what started as a hobby, suddenly I started getting into this, and every night I just couldn't wait to get back, just to see what you could do, because there's such a buzz from developing. It's instead of games where you normally are challenging yourself against the big boss or shooting against enemies. Virtual reality and development is you creating your own problems, and then you have to go and solve them. But it's very much like gaming as well, except you're creating the problem for yourself. So I started with a basic drum kit, and then I thought, well, I'm a piano player by profession, so I thought next one I'll see if I can make a piano in virtual reality, and I got through that, and then well, guitar. No one's really doing guitar, so by the time I'd gone around them all, I think I had about 5 instruments made. I had no recording, wasn't able to record then, but I submitted my application to Oculus. They had a start program or start developer program, and thankfully I got accepted in that, and that was maybe within about 6 months of starting to develop. So already I'd got a new avenue, a new career possibly, you know. So I was delighted to get that. So I worked away on the app for about a year, and I roped in a couple of old friends of mine. I'd played in my early bands with a couple of guys from Downpatrick, my hometown. They're in a band called Relish, we're a big band in Ireland. They went on to platinum in Ireland and #1s in Japan and in the Philippines and around Europe. So they're quite a well-known band here. You mightn't have known them in India, but they would be well-known here. They've also written the soundtrack to Sing Street. There's a film, Sing Street, out. So they're proper musicians. So I got them in. I hadn't seen them in years, 30 years. So got back in contact with them. So they've been acting as audio advisors and the ears, if you know what I mean, of the business. So I've been the development then, and I'd bring it up to them and get them to test it. So a nice wee grip. But so I was delighted then in December 2019. It was on my 50th birthday. So to celebrate my 50th birthday, that was what I was working towards. Get the app out on that date. So just about got it out, got the app out, and it launched then on the 50th birthday in December of 2019. And it's doing very well anyway. It's on the Oculus Rift at the minute, and we're now working on making it available for more headsets. We were up for an award in Las Vegas for the app as the best education project in the world. You know, this is just, for me, was so unexpected because I'd only started as a hobby. Most people learn when they're younger, they learn to develop and code and all that stuff when they're younger, when the brain's supposed to be more active. So my brain is supposed to be going downhill towards 50. So coding and learning development has been a great thing, not only for my brain, but just for everything. You know, it's great. It gives you a lot of positivity and a lot of reward, because I'm one of those people that if I get a problem, I have to solve it. You know, I can't go to sleep. It has to be solved. So you spend a lot of nights, just hours and hours, maybe through 3, 4, 5 o'clock in the morning. You're working on a problem that you've created yourself. You know, it's all self-inflicted problems. So so I enjoy that. I love that process, you know. And when you do solve a problem, it's the reward you get, the buzz. There's a huge buzz off it, you know. So I've totally got into VR now and changed my life. I was doing computer repairs before, so I knew a lot about IT, and I did electronic engineering. So my background was fairly good. Most of these things, these courses I did when I was sober. Obviously, I should have been a dead man, but I'm alive and I have an app out now. So also what we've been doing over the last year is also making virtual reality video. So it's not just applications now. So we have videos online there where I must show you. This is a slight small camera. This is a VR camera. You take VR 180 5.7K is what I've been doing. We also use ambisonic audio. This here would be an ambisonic microphone. Actually 4 microphones in the one. So I've been making VR videos during lockdown because I couldn't go anywhere. I'm in a beautiful part of the world. It really is nice here in Leitrim. So I've just been filming within lockdown, within 5 kilometers. I've been allowing people to come to Leitrim to visit me. So I have videos on YouTube now on the SkyWatcher channel. So you can visit the waterfalls of Leitrim, and you can do Finn McCool. It's very famous. I live on the hill that he's buried on. We've also got horses and a newborn foal. We followed it around for its first day, goats and chickens. So they're doing quite well. And funny enough, the country that they're doing the best in is India. So thank you very much, India. We're getting about 1,000 views a day for the horses. India seems to love them. So thanks for watching, and we hope to make more. It's just, I have a lot of projects seem to be going at the one time, and it's getting time to do each one of them, if you know what I mean. So that's sort of my background, where I came from. It wasn't generally the normal path into development, and every day I'm learning. Every day I'm learning new tricks, new skills, and the whole movement, the whole virtual reality movement, augmented reality, it's moving so quickly, it's trying to keep pace with that. We also started recently now doing also a bit of teaching, a bit of outreach, and just started there 2 weeks ago, and we're teaching children, teenagers. So some of these teenagers are carers that care for an adult that's got a chronic or terminal illness. So we're teaching them how to develop virtual reality, just so they can make their virtual worlds, and they can bring the person they're caring for into their new worlds. So we're working on that. We're also looking to work with people in autism and to create virtual worlds and virtual spaces that they can work in. So it's creating resources and worlds that they're going to benefit from, and also inclusivity. So we want to bring people with autism or ADHD or different degrees of that, to get them back into classrooms, into mainstream classrooms using virtual reality. So that's the latest project. So there's virtual reality apps, virtual reality video, virtual reality audio, episodic audio, and now a bit of teaching. So that's where I've come in more or less 3 or 4 years, from not knowing anything about developing, not knowing anything about virtual reality. So it's been quite a journey, and I've really enjoyed it, met some very interesting people along the way. So it's good fun. So I think I'll leave that question. That's my opener anyway. That's what I've been up to.
It's fantastic. So, you are into virtual reality, and you said you started this very late, understanding about the
Yeah,
development and understanding about the coding and all,
yeah,
developing an
and
application.
yeah. So the thing is, you don't have to be young. You don't necessarily have to high-tech physics and maths degrees. Anyone can learn basics. Kids I'm working with at the minute are maybe 13 to 16, and we've just had a couple of classes, and already they're able to go off on their own. So a lot of it's about confidence, and also a lot of it's about getting over the fear.
Okay.
Everyone thinks, oh, people that do that, they must be super smart or way. It's not. You can everything's small. Yeah, everything's done in small steps. Break it down in small steps. So I would encourage anyone that's, the resources to develop are free. Unity, Unreal Engine, Blender, if you want to design your own 3D models and things like that. So there's so much is free to start with. And I'll let you into a little secret here, and I haven't told anyone else this, that my app itself, in total, how much do you think it would cost to develop an app and to release on the Oculus Store, for example? How much would you think it would cost?
I don't know exactly. I have an app in Google App Store that I have developed in
Oh,
Android
good.
Studio. I have two
Yeah.
mobile apps. I have
Oh, very
created
good.
that with my own knowledge. That is not
Oh,
a
that's
big
great.
coding thing. Like
Yeah, yeah.
I'm into tech. I did masters in software engineering, so it's not a big thing for me. But I don't know
Yeah.
how much it costs and all, because I'm not into the industry. Because
Yeah.
you know better than me.
Yeah, well, I don't really know better. Well, I'll just tell you, mine cost under £200 in total to get it built, the whole thing, and launched. That was
Okay.
it. It was all time. It was just my time and my work. So there's so many resources, free assets, that you can get creative. It's such a creative medium now, because it opens up possibilities that never existed before. Because from really caveman days, we used to tell stories around the fire. It was just talk. It was just you told your stories. And then eventually writing came along. That was the next one where you could pass on information. And then radio came along, where you could sort of hear, and then TV came along, and then 3D TV. They're about the 5 different phases of technology and communications. But VR is actually, an AR is the last one we'll ever use, because it's the same as real life. Everything we have seen before has all been on a 2D screen, a small 2D screen. But when you suddenly have the world open up in front of you, and you can move it about, and you can interact with your hands and lift things and do things, and talk to people and look them in the face and see their gestures. And also now we're going to be having so to be tracking your pupils. So when I'm talking to you in VR, I'd be looking at you straight into your eyes, you know. So all this stuff is building on to become so realistic. And it's very early days. We're like the PlayStation 1 or PlayStation 2 at the minute, you know. So once you give this about 10 years, it's going to change a lot. So it's a really, really exciting area to get into, you know. Even if you take it up as a hobby, if you take it up as a business or whatever, so Melly, it's a good time to get into it. So if any of your listeners or watchers are at it, I really encourage them get into development. I'm probably going to be putting on some of my guides in the future, but there's a lot of people who have their own guides on how to start or and get going. As I say, when you're developing, someone else has already had your problem, so you can always go online and find out a bit more about it, you know. So I just said that the other thing that for myself, background where I came from in the north, I was born in 1969, believe it or not, going back a few years. I was born in Belfast, and that was the year that the Troubles in Belfast broke out. So I was born right at the start of that now. So we're lucky now we've had maybe 15, 20 years of relative peace, you know, but the atmosphere that we grew up in, and also the guys I work with, you know, was not normal. We didn't know it wasn't normal until you actually go to another country and experience another culture and find out, you know, that it's not normal. War is not normal. Fighting is not normal. Sectarianism, hate is just not normal, you know. So I've always grown up since that to be completely into peace, completely into people talking, communication, you know. People need to invest time and money in peace and talking and communication and accepting each other's cultures rather than spend all our money and time on wars and, you know, and upsetting. So that's really my philosophy in life, you know, and people and in general. So life is too short to be fighting is the way I look at it. So but I say where I am in Leitrim here is beautiful, it's peaceful, it's unspoilt, you know. But if you ever get time, do you have access to a VR headset yourself?
No, I don't have VR except that is
I
what
don't have
my
you.
question is. What is VR and where it is used and how it is used? What is the importance of it?
Yeah, well, I'll maybe just get a headset here to show you. Um, so there's two types of virtual reality headsets really. This first one, you see it's got a cable with it. It's called the
Yeah.
Oculus Rift.
Okay.
And this one, we have got hand controllers. So when you're in VR, for example, in my app, if you're playing drums, your actual hands are moving and hitting the drums or playing the piano. So this requires quite a high-powered PC to run it. There are also ones like this would be called the Valve Index or the Vive Cosmos. These are all ones run by PC. So that was the early days of VR. It was all you needed quite a lot of money, really. I think my initial setup with a CV1 and a high-powered PC was maybe about £2,500 in our money. But now things have changed dramatically. Obviously, a lot of the big companies now, Google, Apple, HTC, have all got involved. So they have brought the price of everything down and made it completely mobile. So this one you can see has got no wire coming out of it. This is a
Yeah.
completely wireless standalone, and this is
Yeah.
called the Oculus Quest.
Yeah.
So this one now is down to, there's a newer version of this, and it's now at £300. So where I started at £2,500, this is down. It obviously can't do the same graphics as one run on a PC, as you would know, but it does very close to it, you know, especially the new ones. And these have got 4 and 5K screens now, the newer ones. The human eye generally perceives around between 8 and 16K is what we see at in real life. So these headsets are heading towards human eye resolution very quickly in the next 3, 4, 5 years. So not only, I mean, it was aimed at gamers initially. VR, the whole movement was aimed at gamers because they had high-powered PCs and games sell well. So that's where they started at. But a lot of the drive and a lot of the money now is in education. It's in industry. It's training. Say, for your example, you're doing a hazardous job, or you're a surgeon doing a engineering. You can do all your practicing in a nice, safe environment with an Oculus Rift headset. You can learn to drive a car. You can learn to drive a plane. You can draw in 3D. This is another thing. We've always been drawn in 2D on a 2D page. Now you can draw in 3D space, you can sculpture in 3D space. So it's not just games, it's the applications are unbelievable, and the things that are coming with this, I can't even imagine what will happen with this in the future, you know. But probably the biggest thing, and why, when I got my first development kit headset, as I was saying earlier, called the DK2, it was from Oculus. Oculus was their own company, they were standalone. Um, Facebook, who got all the money, came in and they bought Oculus. I think they spent £2 billion, and they bought Oculus. They have invested a lot of money in bringing it forward, you know. And obviously, the reason that Facebook bought it is because of the social aspect. Facebook's numbers aren't going to stay at the same forever, you know. There's a finite number of people on the earth, so they are big into this because this is where your future is going in Facebook and everything else. I'm talking to you now on a 2D screen, and you see me on a 2D screen. If we were in VR, we'd be able to give each other a high five. We could play games. We could play pool together, you know. We could listen to music together. We can watch films together. We can go on a roller coaster ride. We can go to the fun fair, all just with this headset, all without having to leave the house. So during COVID, VR should have really taken off, but they couldn't produce enough headsets. For example, and the technology needed to be maybe 4 or 5 years further. A bit like now, everyone owns mobile phones. So generally, in a couple of years, this is either down to €300 now or £300. They'll be down to about £200, you know, and they'll be the size of a pair of sunglasses ultimately, and they'll be human eye resolution. So it is moving so fast. And I think that was Mark Zuckerberg when he's talking about when they invested in this. He said within 10 years you'll have a headset the size of glasses, affordable, and it'll just open the world up. And it already is. So, for example, over COVID, all the big tech conferences where normally us developers would go to them, or go to Las Vegas or into Europe and attend these development conferences. So now the likes of Oculus or Facebook, Vive, Apple have all had their conferences online. So we put on our headsets and we're at the conference. You know, they have a conference created in virtual reality where you do the same things. You can go and attend talks, you can ask questions, you get group chats afterwards. So, and they can show video, audio, everything you can do really in real life. So virtual reality, you can do more or less everything that you can do in real life. So it can simulate everything that we do in real life. But plus that, it can do all the things that are in our wildest dreams or our worst nightmares can also be created, you know. So it's just, it's such a big movement now, you know. It's unstoppable, I think, is the way it's going now. So I don't know, and I don't think these are maybe available in India yet. Do you know where the Oculus, are they available in India, or do you have any other
I
ones?
have to check. I have to check.
You have to check. Yeah, some are, they're licensed for some countries. Maybe the Vive might be available in your country.
Okay.
Also, Google Cardboard you can use as a starter if you've got a good enough phone screen. For £10, you may have used that before as well. So, for example, some of the videos we made there on our YouTube channel, you can look at your Google Cardboard, and there's a YouTube VR app. Obviously, the more you spend on it, the better the headset you can get, you know. Some of the Google Cardboard is slightly off-putting because it's quite a bad experience, because you're stuck in the one spot. You know what I mean? It's called 3 degrees of freedom is when you're stuck in one spot, but you can move your head. 6 degrees of freedom, like a headset, means you can move about in space and also move your head and your hands. So it just adds, you know, a lot more to it. It becomes a lot more believable, and you have a lot more going on. So that's the two main ones at the minute now. So and again, all the big developers, the big gaming companies now are all also releasing virtual reality apps or porting their apps to virtual reality. So it's an exciting space to be in. So
yeah. So if you put this instrument, you will see the visual and the sound without being in that particular place.
Yeah. So without having to physically own, I'm a big believer that this technology is going to make so many things affordable. For example, if I use my own studio instrument, Studio VR, for example, if you had to buy guitars, a piano, a keyboard, a bass guitar, an electric guitar, all the amps, and a recording studio, and a mixing desk, and all that stuff, you're talking 20, 30,000 pounds, you know, for all that equipment. £20, if you own one of those headsets, £20, you can buy my app and at least you get a start. So the idea for me is also to get more people into playing music. You know, I'm not the school where people started sequencing music. I'm a live piano player and I've played live all my life, you know, and big bands and live big bands. And it's not that feel of a live music and real music being played, you know, so much different from dum, 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 dum. That type of music, I just drives me nuts. So I want to get more people into, because there's a lifelong relationship you have with an instrument. If you start playing an instrument, you can be with it for life. You know, it's something you can always go back to and learn more and come back to. And instead of pressing buttons on a sequencer, you know, which is meaningless. There's no life. There's no soul. So I'm a big believer in trying to get people back into playing music, and virtual reality is a great way of making that affordable, you know, to start. So we do have to improve a bit. There's certain things we have to make sure. For example, if we're making instruments, you're playing a drum, you have to make sure that when you hit the drum, it looks like you're hitting it at the right time. It sounds like you're hearing the sound at the right time, and you're also getting the vibration. So there's three different components. In real life, if we're playing, we see, we hear, and we feel. You get a vibration. So one of the hardest parts of this is cutting down the latency. So there's no delay in either of those, either what you see and what you hear and what you feel. That's one of the biggest challenges anyway, developing virtual instruments. So there's a lot to do, but I was great for myself just to get it out there, and to be the first to do something was, you know, quite good for me as well, you know. But hopefully we're going to keep building in this and do other things. And also, because of lockdown, we did intend to be filming VR video of music concerts and festivals and events and all sorts of things over the last year. So we've had to park that, and hopefully we'll get back to it in the near future. So I have a few other projects. Once I do get moving, I got my jab, thankfully. I got my vaccination on Friday. So I'll get my second one in 4 weeks. So in about 4 or 5 weeks, I'll start to be able to catch up on a lot of things we missed over the last year, and I'm really looking forward to that. So a few things we have done. We're going to be getting stars or musicians in Ireland and filming in virtual reality. And also another one we'll be doing is buskers in VR. So we're going to have people that do street busking in towns around Ireland. And we're going to have a little competition, so like a virtual reality busk off. So I'm looking forward to hopefully getting that done. We've also got another project that was put on hold, and that's to make a radio show. So that's going to be a radio broadcast, but instead of in audio, it's going to be fully virtual reality. So that's with a station called Flirt FM in Galway. And there's a girl called Roger Bride, one of the presenters. We'll say hello to her. So she was on today about it. So all these ways, I have a lot of ideas, but sometimes it's getting time, and then obviously COVID and other different things got in the way. So I'll be excited to get back at that and get stuck in, you know. I need more hours in the day. 24 hours isn't enough.
So, can you tell me where exactly this VR is used nowadays in this generation today? Not only in Ireland, all over the world, where this technology is being used, and what is the
Yeah,
benefit of it?
well, the main countries, obviously, some of the more advanced countries in the West seem to have the money for it to afford these things, because it was very expensive at the start. Um, but this will be everywhere. It really will be everywhere. It depends. Facebook, I say that this for £300. Once they get it down to about £200, I think it should be affordable for everyone. So, say in some countries it's not maybe licensed to go in yet, but it should be coming. But I say most countries, and at the start it was more gamers were starting to use VR because they're into the games and it was games being produced. But now the demographic is changing, so you get quite a lot of the time you find a kid buys one of these headsets, or the parents buys it for them, and then the parent tries it, and next thing the parent wants one, you know, so many times. So I mean, I do quite a lot of demos around here for youth groups and older groups and different people, and there's not a single group of people I've demonstrated to that says I don't want this, you know. Everyone says I want this, and the second thing is how much. So, and at the start, when I said how much, £2,500, if you even 2 years ago, it would be two or £3,000, and now I say £300. It's a big change here, you know. So it's just, it takes a while for any new medium to come in, you know. I mean, if you think of it like 3D TVs, they invest a lot of money in 3D TVs, and it never really took off. And part of that problem was, if you've ever been to a 3D movie, I'm sure you have, in a cinema or with a big screen. And 3D in a big screen is good because it's sort of wrapped around your head. But when you have a small TV at home that's 3D, you don't get things popping out of the screen. It's only, you need a big enough size of the screen for what's called parallax, for things to actually jump out of the screen. So when you're watching a 3D TV at home, everything's backwards. It's like looking into a box, if you know what I mean. So they invested loads of money into 3D TVs, but realized that people at home couldn't get things popping out. So it sort of disappeared, you know, even though there's billions and billions of pounds put in it. But this is much more stable now. There's a lot more money gone into this than 3D. And it's hard to actually explain what VR is, even me explain it, or explain it on video, or explain it in radio, because it's like me trying to explain on radio what a TV is. You know, it's like me trying to explain on a newspaper what a radio is before it came out. You don't know. It is something that you, if you've got a friend that's got a VR headset, or if there's anyone running demos, encourage any of your viewers or listeners, go in and have a demo, see what you think, you know, because it is the future, and it is a great time now to get into development, or if you're into if you want to create art or assets or whatever it could be, you know, or if you're into education or you want to make an app for your particular interest, this is a great time to get into. Just have a wee nosy and see what's going on, you know. You can certainly look at SkyWatcherVR website, the YouTube channel, so you can see the app that we made and some of the other videos. And there's also a video there about my own development story, if you know what I mean. And there's one I did to 3D Camp in Ireland last year. So it'll just give you a wee bit more information about me and how I came to where I am now, if you know what I mean.
So what are the tools that you use, and what are the uh, uh, what are the uh, coding thing that you do? What are the tools that you use to develop the
Yeah,
application that for the virtual reality machine?
yeah. Well, I started developing on a version of Unity software. So most of you, when you play your games, you probably see the likes of Unity or Unreal Engine popping up. They would be the two biggest game engines. And we use game engines to design not only VR applications, but any desktop applications, or for PlayStations or Android. You do using what's called the game engine. So both Unity and Unreal have got free versions. Unity Personal is the free version that I started with. So I'd recommend anyone download that. It runs in nearly any small laptop will run it, you know. It may not run the VR bit, but you can more or less develop everything on the desktop and maybe then add in the settings for VR later. So Unity Personal is the best one. And then for coding, generally I use a language called C Sharp. It's a bit like C or C++, which you would know of. It's along the lines between C++ and Java. So generally Java, C++ and C Sharp are the languages that you can use to code. Most of them now use C Sharp. It's the one I learned to develop. So again, if you go online, you'll find loads of YouTube guides on, you know, how to get started on coding and using C Sharp, and you get nice wee simple programs to take you through. So coding can be a wee bit, it can melt your head, as an expression we would say in Ireland. But if you keep at it, start slowly, you'll pick it up, you know. So that's coding. And then also we would use other free software. Blender is a great one if you want to create 3D models and shapes and stuff. Loads of free guides for that. For audio, you can use Audacity or Reaper, great free assets as well. So just before I came to publish, I actually had to go for the paid version of Unity, because and the only thing of that, it stops Unity showing up. You know, when you launch an application, or a game, sometimes you get Unity. That's the only thing that stops you doing that. But you have to pay £300 a year for the pro one. But say if you start with a free one, and maybe you can submit your app to the likes of Oculus or Vive or any of these companies, and to get on. Because I got a lot of these headsets sent free once I got it on the start program. Vive have also sent me a headset there as well, which I'm porting my app to at the minute. So you can start from nothing and you can build on it, and you don't have to spend. If you make a decent enough app, they'll send you a free headset, which is handy enough, you know. So that's it. So there's no point. You don't have to spend any money at all to get started in virtual reality development, you know. Just get curious. Just get started. I think it's the hardest bit is just getting started sometimes, you know, and take it from there.
So how much time you took to understand coding and develop your coding skills?
Yeah, well, for that app that I made, it was 6 to 8 months after I had started that I had enough built. I think I had 4 instruments working then, and that was with coding. So that was about 8 months from knowing nothing to submitting to the Oculus Start program and getting accepted on that. And once I got accepted on that, then I put more energy into it, you know, and try to get more and more. But the thing is, if you're curious, if you're one of these people that always have to complete the game level, you know, if you, and you go at it and you go at it until you get it done, you'll do very well in coding or game development. People that look for cheat codes or just give up, you know, give up. I've had a couple of those and just give up. Maybe not for you. You have to be one of these people that you have to keep at it, you know. You have to be like a little dog that keeps biting till you get what you want. But it's great. It's great for your mental faculty as well. So I'm getting older. There's always a fear of dementia and stuff, you know, as you get older. So when you learn new skills, it doesn't matter what it is, a new hobby or a new interest, it'll keep you younger. It'll always keep you mentally younger, I think. Oh, it's been.
Yeah. So how virtual reality is used in movie making?
Movie making. Well, virtual reality before, there's 2 different types of, I suppose, video formats, or 3 different types of virtual reality video formats that you use. The most basic one would be called 360 video, but that is not stereoscopic. So we see stereoscopic, one eye, 2 eyes. So 360, we call it flat 360. It's a bit like having a TV or cinema screen just wrapped around your head in a globe, in a round globe. So it isn't 3D. So there's a lot of push for that on Google Cardboard 360 videos, but they're no good. VR is all about stereoscopic. So the next one from that would be 360 VR. So that's very different from 360 video. 360 VR means you see 360, but you also see in 3D's perspective. And another format which I use is called 180 VR. So in 360 VR, it requires a hell of a lot of pixels displayed around your head, and you have to do that twice. So it uses a lot of resources, you know. And for us to be comfortable in VR, you really need it up at about 4K upwards to actually be good. Otherwise, it's quite blurry, because if you understand, you've got a big magnifying lens close to your face, so you actually need higher resolution than we would normally get. So the format I use is VR 180. It's 5.7K. So that actually displays 5.7K just in the space that you can see around your face. Do you know what I mean? So that's the format at the minute. That's just that these can run, and it's at high enough definition that it makes it quite clear. So that's really the 3 formats. So what we would call is 360 flat, 360 VR, where you got stereoscopic, and then 180 VR is like 360 VR, except you only see around here, and it uses half the resources because it only have to display here. So that's the format that I use. For example, most things, live concerts and events you're at, you aren't really looking behind you. You know, you generally don't look behind you. So a lot of that 360 resource is wasted. So, but that's for your live concerts has already started. You can go to live movies, live sports events, comedy already. You know, Next VR, there's all sorts of companies doing it online, and also golf, basketball, a lot of major sports that they're putting in cameras. You know, that's sort of what I'm focusing on. Hopefully, the project I'm with, hoping to get autistic or bring more people who suffer from autism into classrooms, integrating them back in classrooms, and that would be using the likes of 5.7 VR 180 video. So that could allow anyone remotely, just put on the headset and you're in a class with a teacher, you can block out the volume of the pupils, just have the teacher talking, you know. So for everything that you would normally go to, for example, the Olympics, I'm sure there'll be featuring VR 180 and 360. You'll be able to visit that in real time, you know. So I say already we go to all our conferences and stuff, any conferences and tech companies working in VR, we do them all just with a headset. Don't have to leave the house. You don't have to go to the hotel. You don't have to get in a plane. You know, it's just bang, bang, you're there sort of thing. So obviously we all need, well, I haven't got a great internet connection here, but as 5G rolls out as well, that's going to be really well suited to this type of thing, because it uses a lot of resources. You know, if you're streaming, it might be needing 100 megabyte connection at least, you know, just to get a comfortable experience. Because obviously these have to get up to probably about 16K. So they're at 6K now. Once they get up to 16K, you will not be able to tell the difference between reality and virtual reality. This is where the scary things come.
So when it comes to virtual reality, what are the things that a creator or the application developer uh, or uh, or the machine creator, the virtual reality machine creator, uh, puts concentration on in order to create this kind of a virtual means which is not real, but
Yeah,
VR means virtual reality. Virtual reality means which is not real. You are showing something real virtually. You have to show the real thing virtually exactly like you see the real thing,
yeah. Well, that's
right?
the idea of it. Yeah.
So what
So
what
obviously,
what? Yeah. Let me
well,
complete my
first of all,
question.
yeah. Well, first of all, you have to start with a model that looks realistic.
Yeah.
So you would start in the likes of Blender is a program where we use to create 3D models and then paint them up and give them a skin. So generally, your models, you'd bring them into your project, work on that first. They'd be called assets. And then in Unity itself, then we use our coding to make, so for example, if I was making a piano key to go down, so I would make a model of the piano. I would have separate little keys. Then I have to use little scripts. So scripts are like, I sort of use the analogy, scripts are like two objects that have got Bluetooth. So every object's got Bluetooth and can talk to each other object in a scene. So for example, the piano keys, we would put a little score on them saying, if this hand comes down, this hand would have your trigger. Once this hand presses the key, I'd be telling the key, first of all, to move down. And I'll be setting more instructions along to an audio player to play a certain note. And depending how fast my hand's gone down, fast or slow, play that note slow, play that note fast. Depending how long I hold my finger on the key, do you sustain the note? Do you let it drop off? Am I using a sustain pedal? Also, we have to put in things so you can change the samples. You can change the type of sound you're hearing. Also, one is a coding to add in reverb, chorus, so all the sort of effects you get in real life, you know. So as much as possible, I mean, mine's more, I'm trying to go for realistic simulation, you know. Other apps don't. Other apps maybe decide, sure, we're in virtual reality now. Why do I have to do the same things as before? So it's that sort of decision you can make. One of the biggest, most popular apps and biggest selling one at the minute is called Beat Saber. Have you heard of it? Beat Saber, and it's sold tens of millions, 60 million, I think it was probably the last count. And it's just a simple app that in Star Wars you have a lightsaber. And what this guy just does have, he's got blocks moving at you in time to music, and you have to slash them or break them. Very simple concept. So it's tying together your Star Wars slashing blocks. So whenever you do them in the right time, you get points. So you have to. It's good for your timing. So it's musical based, an audio based one, and it's selling millions. You know, and that's just a concept that could have only been done in virtual reality. You know, you couldn't play that game on a desktop or with an ordinary Xbox controller or anything. You know, these are dedicated. So quite a lot of old games now as well, and old applications they're able to port into VR at the minute. But the best ones are ones that are actually dedicated for virtual reality.
So what about the sound? You have to create sound which exactly makes the person to feel like how he feels when he's in the situation, the real
Yeah, well,
situation.
this is where we use a new type of audio. Let's say that's an ambisonic audio recorder. In VR, we can have full spatial audio. So this is fully surround audio. This is different from surround speakers you have maybe at home on your TV or movie. Where you're looking at a straight screen and you've got a little, it's like a band around you. In VR, we've got full 3D, as this is above you and below you as well. And it's also positional. So whenever we hear sound, if you were behind me, your sound would be different to my ears compared to when you're talking in front of me. When you're behind me, a lot of the top frequencies get lowered down. This is what we call like a high pass filter. So it makes you sound more like slightly underwater. So depending where you are, your voice changes, your pitch changes, your tone changes. So in life, we use that all the time to find out where things are. It's called binaural equalization. So if you hear a bird singing up there, your two ears work out until they can hear evenly, and then work out, the bird's exactly up there. So in virtual reality, we can do that as well. So I have one of Waterfalls of Ireland. If you ever get a chance, use that with headphones and VR headset. So you can hear if there's water flowing from above you, below you. Every sound that's around you is actually not only coming from the right place, but it also reacts to where your ears do. It's something that you can't do with home surround speakers, and it's done now just with a headset. You can do it with ordinary headphones as well. So this is a big movement in audio as well. Apple's new iPod Pro have come out where it's ambisonic audio compatible binaural. I think the new Xbox or one of the newest ones is coming out also with ambisonic audio. So it is a big change. We've only been hearing audio, two speakers, stereo, most of our lives, two speakers in a fixed spot. But our ears hear above, below, around, they hear everything. And we also get reflections of sound. So in real life, my sound when I'm speaking now will be bouncing off my walls and coming back, and bouncing off another wall and coming back. So ambisonic audio picks all that up as well. So in VR, you'll get ambisonic audio. Not all VR videos do ambisonic audio. I've been adding them in with this microphone now. It's quite a tedious process because it is quite cutting edge in a way, but it does add so much more to that, when every sound is exactly where it should be, sounding as it should be, and it changes depending on where you're moving at. So it is, everything's sort of moving together, both the VR video, the VR audio, and all the apps and the infrastructure that goes with it.
So is this VR audio and VR video is expensive than the normal one?
No, you just need these. You just need headphones. That's why it's such a great thing to experience this. You only need VR heads. You don't need a VR headset. You can go onto YouTube and look for ambisonic audio samples. Plug in your headphones and try that yourself today. Maybe later when you're free. But it really opens up where things are going. Because stereo is okay, but stereo's been around from the 80s, 70s, really, it's been a long time. So our ears have been lacking. Like our eyes can see everything, but our ears have been, for example, our ears, we can perceive full 360 environment with our ears, and we've only got two ears. Yet our eyes, we can only perceive about a 180 environment. It's a bit funny that way, So that's what ambisonic is and binaural hearing. So for example, if you've got a sound coming at you this way, it's going to be different from a sound going that way. You've little hairs in your ear that pick up that difference. You've also, if you have a sound coming from above you, it will be reflecting off your shoulder back up into your earlobes itself. So our ears are very sophisticated instruments. They're able to pinpoint exactly where anything is, It's nearly like an undiscovered resource that we've forgotten about. So ambisonics is going to make that so much brighter, so much bigger, Particularly now when I hope to get into filming concerts and things like that. So when you put on the headset, you've got the VR video plus the ambisonic audio, you will feel like you're at the venue, at the concert in real time. So it's exciting.
So what exactly your job is? What is your position?
Well, I'm the owner of SkyWatcher VR and the main developer. Say SkyWatcher VR is an independent company, so like I'm an independent developer. So I do everything really, apart from I get a few friends in, like my friends from Relish, to help me out, maybe certain things I can't help with. But I have just sort of drifted into this and ended up doing all the little jobs compared from the marketing to getting the app online to doing all the accounts, all the boring stuff as well. It's not all exciting either. There is a bit of hard graft in it. But it is the way I look at it, it's a lifelong learning thing. Because as you know, technology changes all the time from week to week. So what you thought you knew last week may have changed by this week. So there's constantly new versions of software coming out, new versions of Unity, new versions of the Oculus or Vive SDKs coming out. And you have to sort of keep on top of that. And there's also a new format coming out, which is quite exciting, which I'm working on. And it's called OpenXR. I don't know if you've heard of that. Uh, OpenXR is a format which allows you to make one build of an application and then to release that on multiple different headsets and devices. So really before today, if I'm releasing, like I developed an app for the Oculus Rift, I have to make a completely different version of that for the Vive. It's not starting again, but it's not far off it. And then maybe another version again for the Valve Index. And then you're going to have to make another Android version for the Quest. So you've got about 4 or 5 separate builds. So OpenXR is this, what we'd call a godsend for developers. And that means that you make one app in one format and it just works on every other headset and works on all. Because all the different headsets have maybe different controllers, they've got slightly different features on it. So this is a great thing now, and it's going to change maybe in the next couple of years. Most of the apps coming out will be in the OpenXR format. So for developers or for any yourself or your listeners or anyone who wants to get start developing, this is the easy path. You're going to have it easy. So I encourage you to start.
So maybe I'm going to work as an IT director in Canada in few months. One like 3 or 4 months, I'm going to be in Canada as an IT
Uh,
director. So
oh,
I got an
brilliant.
opportunity there. So
Yeah,
maybe in future, if I want, like you said, this is your own company. You're the own, you own this company, and
yeah,
you develop applications. And I understood the technical knowledge that you have, the understanding that you have, and
yeah.
the products that you can create. Maybe in future we can collaborate and create something that is not existed before and create wonders. Maybe.
That's what it's all about. And the great thing with virtual reality for collaboration, you can put on headsets. We can be in the same room. I can see your desktop screen. You could be working on Unity. I can be working on Unity
Yeah,
beside
yeah.
you. If you have
Uh,
any problems, I can show you what to do. So
yeah.
it's not just that
My
it's great
my
for,
my answer is that only. I'm going to work in a movie making company.
yeah,
It's a movie making company, and I'm not working as IT director in a MNC company. When it is movie making, it is very important for you to understand graphics,
yeah,
everything, how
yeah,
the visual thing and the audio thing. So it is very
yeah.
important for me to understand and use where it is needed. So I need people like you in order to make the product look fantastic.
Yeah, I can certainly help you with that. You send me your links or what you've done before. It'd be great to see what you've been up to. That's great.
Yeah,
It's great to
yeah,
collaborate, great to share ideas, because one person can have a good idea, but lots of people can have the best ideas is the way I always
you
look at
you
it.
didn't
So
you didn't you didn't saw my videos on YouTube.
I did briefly, I just got the one last night because I've been very busy and preparing a wee course at the minute there. So it's only one with the intelligence guy, or he was on last night. And I didn't get a chance to watch many more because I've only known you 2 days. So I'll certainly
Yeah.
be catching up and watching a few more now. I've got a bit more time. This weekend I'll be a bit more not underwater, if you know what I mean. I also had a film filmed in my house, might be coming out in a couple of years, called Wonderland, if you're into films. Some guy just stopped. He liked my cottage, so I'm still working with him at the minute. I'm supposed to be doing VR stuff as well. That's why I've got long hair. So He wants me to be in a film. So I couldn't get my hair cut because the hairdressers were closed for a year. That's why I'm like a long-haired lout. I've gone
So
feral.
yeah, go on.
Feral, if you know what that is. Gone wild.
Okay.
I've been
So
living with a dog. The last year, my company's been my dog and two horses. So over COVID, because I live in my own, so that was the
okay.
only company I had. So. But you'll see them if you watch the horse videos. You'll see a couple of them there as well.
Yeah, I'll watch it.
Be nice if you had a headset, but we'll get you
Yeah,
to
I'll
see it
watch it.
properly. Yeah,
Yeah. So, myself, I'm from South India. I
yeah,
did I did masters in software engineering and bachelor's in computer science and engineering, and I did
brilliant.
projects on I did
Yeah,
projects on uh, projects using SQL and SQL database and Java
yeah.
and Python and not Python. And in the NetBeans, it's a basic application. I created online website, uh,
Yeah.
online police station where everybody can give complaints through online. So that is the
Oh,
website
great. Yeah.
that was my individual project. And my masters, I did the project. I created a website where it is like a Facebook social network. It's a social network
Oh,
I
very good.
created. So that was
Yeah.
two projects of mine, and now my personal project I started is talking with different country people who are into different professions, and
Yeah.
I did that, and I did I maybe before 1 year I started it. Now until today, I think I did more than 400 interviews of different country people, not only a particular
Yeah.
country, Canada, US, England,
Yeah.
China, Japan,
Yeah.
Bangladesh, Pakistan, all the country people, nutritionist, police officer, army officer, uh, a physical
Yeah.
trainer, or a person who writes books. Like you will
Yeah.
see, like it is my YouTube channel or my podcast is a forest where you can find all the animals.
Yeah. That's brilliant. It's nice to get diversity as well and get
Yeah.
lots of different opinions. Now, are you going around every country in the world? Is that your challenge to get someone from every country, or is it someone from every different profession, or is it both?
It is like human beings, human being who is not me.
That's easy. So you 7 billion, you seven
Yeah.
billion videos to make.
Yeah.
That should keep you busy for a week.
Because
Well, it's nice to be on the list anyway. Yeah,
because when you are into technology, you should know what is useful for the, for the human beings. You will
yeah,
understand their opinions, where they connect, what with which
yeah,
they are connecting, and it's easy, with the
yeah,
different time zones, and which concept they are interested in. How you have to show. You have a virtual reality movie, but you should know the drama, how you have to create in order to
yeah,
connect with all the people.
yeah,
The
yeah,
story is there. You are showing, as a tech guy, you are showing it. The visual is very good, the sound is very good, but the story,
yeah,
how they are going to connect, it is an emotion. You
yeah,
have to connect with the emotion. So with
yeah,
the technology, you are sending an emotion into their minds and into their hearts.
yeah,
So when you succeed in it, I believe that I am very good in tech at the same time as a human being also.
yeah. It's funny that you're talking about emotions with virtual reality. The new technology coming out, they're actually capturing your emotions. So that's your facial expressions. So the latest Vive one has got a little gadget down here, which is filming your mouth and your face. And then your avatar is actually reflecting all of those. So if you're happy, you're smiling, you're sad. And then also that when you've got your pupil tracking, so you've got direct eye to eye contact, all emotions showing. You can do all the hand gestures as well. So everything that we do in real life to convey emotion or receive emotion or show upset or happiness is generally done with our pupils, with our smile, with our gestures. So VR is already incorporating those in as we speak, because as we speak today, we never really make eye contact because the camera is generally above the screen, We look in the middle of the screen, so the likes of Skype and stuff, and people are looking up, looking down, but people never actually can make direct eye contact
Yeah,
because the only way
correct.
you can do that is if I look at the camera and you look at the camera, and then we
Yeah,
can't see each other. So it's always been that way. So there's a big leap now in virtual reality when you can see someone, you can hear them, they've got a fully 3D presence. You'll be able to see their expressions, their emotions, their hands. So it's when you add all of those things together, it becomes so believable. Um,
so uh, at last, I will send you the interviews, the links of mine. You can see
yeah,
the
it'd be great to have them.
yeah.
Yeah,
Whenever you're
be
free,
lovely.
you can hear. It can be podcast or it can be on YouTube. And I also have two apps that I have created using the Android Studio. I have two
Yeah,
websites where I'll write about the technology, the concepts that I learn daily. I will just understand it
yeah,
and I'll try to explain in my own words. Maybe I will do the research of virtual reality also, but I'm not
yeah,
as fluent or as deep knowledge person as like you. But still, I
yeah.
will try to understand it and try to explain it.
Yeah, well, I'm not that much up knowledge-wise. It's just every day you pick up a little bit more and a little bit
Yeah,
more, and add it to. But I say my formal background was I did study electronic engineering. I did physics and maths going through school, so I would have had an aptitude towards this, and I've always been fixing things, taking things apart and see how they work. So there's that sort of curiosity thing. But I'd say for yourself, if you've already done any sort of development or coding, this would be great for you, because it's a difference in coding. Before you make an app and do your thing, and you watch it on the desktop and you go yes. But when you make an app and you put it on the 3D world and you walk into that world you just created, it's on another different level.
yeah.
Uh, it's just within 5 minutes you can create a world and walk about in it and start experimenting. So I
It
don't know
is a
what.
real experience. Like you're making feel like you are you are in that particular uh, situation.
Yeah, yeah, it's all about that. So it's all sorts levels of believability. What software would you code with, or what did you make your apps with? Was it using
Android
Unity
Studio.
or just
Android.
Android Studio? It's all
Yeah,
Android you're doing, mobile based
yeah,
then, yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
Mobile way. Yeah.
yeah. Well,
I
I
will.
started well. If
I
you're
will.
building for Quest, is all Android, so
Okay.
you'll be spot on. But generally use Unity, and then you bring in the Android bits in. But it's all running Android anyway, or a modified version of Android is what the new Quests are. Also, Vive has got it's called the Vive Focus, which is also a mobile headset. They're slightly geared towards business a bit more. See, Facebook's gone more towards games and
Yeah.
social, and Vive seems to be pivoting now towards business and high-end business, but they have good headsets as well. So, and then Apple probably next year will have a combined VR and AR headset. So that should be interesting. So all the big players are finally on board. But the new headsets will be a combination between VR. Virtual reality is when you're completely enclosed in a virtual world and you put the headset on. And augmented reality means you can still see the real world, but you'll have 3D objects placed in front of it. So that's the difference. Some people may not know the difference between virtual reality and augmented reality, but headsets in the future will be doing both. It's
Yeah.
called mixed reality, just another term to throw into the mix. So that's what we're working on. But
So at last, do you have anything to say to the world and who is watching and listening to you right now?
yeah, well, I just like to say to everyone, there's always a chance to change your life, to make a comeback, to make yourself better, to cure yourself. Treat everyone else the way you want to be treated yourself. Never hate anyone. Never show anyone disrespect. Every human on this planet is as valuable as every other human. And it's regardless of your creed, your culture, your faith, your color. Everyone is absolutely equal. If you think you're better than anyone else, you're not. You're worse. So I just encourage everyone, be nice to each other. Try and get through every day by being nice to everyone you see. And you'll make yourself better, you'll make the world better, and you'll make me happy. So I wish
Thank,
you the very best. I wish all your listeners the very best. I think it's a great job you're doing, and it's a great idea, and be excited to actually watch a few of them now when I get a bit of time and see all the exciting people with all their great different views and voices from all around the world. So I hope it goes well and keep at it and keep up the development, and maybe we might collaborate in something in the near future. Watch this space.
Yeah,
Maybe a joint
definitely.
venture coming up. Yeah.
Definitely, I will save your contacts and safely, so that I can see my future working with you.
Yeah, well, I haven't worked with web much, so I need advice on that. Now, there's a lot of web VR coming out as well now, where you can build apps just directly in the web.
Yeah, if you
Firefox,
see,
but still fun.
if you see my YouTube channel, you will see so diverse people. So you will get a project from me in that way
Yeah,
for sure.
yeah,
It will
yeah.
be a very tough job, like you said in the beginning.
Well,
You know,
well, that
like you said in the beginning, you create problems and you will solve it. So
that's it.
definitely, for it will be a challenging and it will be an enjoyment for you for sure. Like when you get
Yeah,
this
yeah,
kind of a tough things, because. You know, I believe that when you do something, I didn't see your work. I will go and see your work, like you said.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah. If you
definitely.
look up SkyWatcher VR, it's all one word on YouTube or online. You'll find all the bits and
Mm.
pieces we've done over the past or whatever. So, um, should be nice to catch up with
Yeah,
you again and see how you're
yeah,
getting on now. So,
yeah.
um,
Can I put this audio and video clip on my YouTube channel, social media, internet, podcast, website,
yeah, yeah.
everywhere with your permission?
You're very welcome, yeah. And hope maybe someone else takes up development. It would be great to see someone else taking up development. If they do, tell them to let you know and let me know. So it's great to see
Yeah.
people getting started. It's something you can always do as a hobby. It doesn't have to be a profession. Just get into it for your own sake, just out of interest. So
So thank you, sir, for giving me your valuable time and spending a lot of valuable words of yours and experience of yours.
you're very welcome, and it's been a delight to talk to you. I wish you the very best in everything you do. I'm sure you'll not go far wrong. Keep smiling. That's the main thing.
Yeah,
Smile
I will
goes a
try.
long way. Yeah.
Thank you, sir. Create more virtual realities.
Yeah, just get started, and I'll be here to help you.
Take care.
Take care. All the very best to you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
bye.
Bye now.